8-bit Sonic the Hedgehog is Sega taking their 16-bit powerhouse and translating him to their 8-bit Master System console, which predated the Genesis and Mega Drive, as well as their handheld Game Gear, which was essentially a on-the-go portable Master System.
8-bit Sonic games for me were always played on the Game Gear. I never owned a Master System, but I did own a Game Gear, so to have Sonic on a portable handheld to take with me everywhere I want? I mean, say less. You had my attention at Sonic.
I was lucky enough to be working at Sega at the time when Sonic 1 on the Master System had just come out. I didn't really think much of the Master System version at the start because I was a Mega Drive snob and I figured, I've got a Mega Drive. Why do I need to play the 8-bit version? I have no need for that. But then we got a Game Gear. And when I got the Game Gear, I would be commuting from home to the Sega hotline and back again using trains and buses. And there was a lot of downtime there. And I had this Game Gear. So one of the games that I kept coming back to was Sonic because it was just an adventure in your pocket. That sounded wrong. Anyway.
My fondest memory with 8-bit Sonic games would have to be when I was playing Sonic Drift 2 late at night. There was a thunderstorm outside and I was playing the stage Rainy Savannah. And within that stage, there's lightning, there's thunder, and then outside there's lightning and there's thunder. And so it was a very cool experience to have the real world going on as I was playing a Sonic game.
My first experience of playing 8-bit Sonic games was through a childhood friend. He did have a Game Gear, and I remember, mind you, I am a kid who loves Sonic, plays Sonic all the time on his Mega Drive. I remember going to this kid's house, and he was sat there in a tent in the garden, and he was playing a Sonic game on a handheld. And it looked and felt like a Sonic game. And I was so jealous.
One of my fondest memories from an 8-bit Sonic game has to be Act 3 of Sunset Park Zone in Sonic Triple Trouble. The cinematic nature of that stage, the music, and the battle to this day still holds up very well, and I still love listening to the music from that stage to this very day.
My first 8-bit Sonic game was Sonic 2 on the Master System. Every single stage is different. It's not just here is like a lo-fi version of the original game. Here we've got Underground Zone, Gimmick Mountain Zone, everything like that, and it's just weird in its own little ways as well.
They were certainly a lot more difficult. There was a lot more instant death and no ring sort of scenarios, so a lot of the bosses you had to try and beat without getting hit. Certainly certain versions were easier than others, particularly with Sonic 2, where the first boss was a lot easier on the Master System because of the slightly zoomed out view, which enabled you to see the balls coming a little bit more.
I came home from school one day to find my dad sat on the living room floor. They had printed a walkthrough for Sonic 2 on the Master System of how to collect all of the Chaos Emeralds. You didn't collect the Chaos Emeralds through special stages, you had to find them in the levels. And in Sonic 2 they were hidden in really hard places. And we could find all of the Chaos Emeralds in every stage except for Gimmick Mountain. So one day I'm coming home from school and Dad sat on the floor with this Sonic the comic open. And he says to me, I know where the Chaos Emerald is. You know, to our surprise, a brand new level opened up. Crystal Eggs Zone. It's my favourite piece of music out of any of the 8-bit Sonic games. But it's also, I think, because of the associated memory as well, is the fact that me and my dad sat there and we finished Sonic 2 together with all of the Chaos Emeralds.
And what really stood out to me about this particular game was the paraglider sections where you need to glide from one side to the other, and it was really tricky to control and to manage to get all the way because you had to sort of control Sonic's momentum and his flow as you were getting there. And I remember me and my brother really struggling to get past even some of the early levels due to the sort of trickiness of it, but we had a great time trying.
So what makes Sonic's 8-bit library stand out more than its 16-bit counterparts? There's something charming in the simplicity of the 8-bit Sonic games. And I think that's one of the things that makes it stand out, is that Sonic is never meant to be a complex game by any means. Now, they weren't all hits, because I do know that Sega really did their best of trying to take Sonic from 16-bit and really capture that same sort of magic in the 8-bit. Not all of them were hits. I mean, there's Sonic Blast and Sonic Labyrinth that weren't exactly great, but when they hit pretty dang hard. The first game, Sonic Triple Trouble, Sonic Chaos, they hit really, really hard.
I'm now in the position that my dad was in 30 plus years ago, because I have a little girl. So where I was playing through the Sonic games with him, I'm now playing through them with her, and she's having that same experience that I did.
It's been a long time since these games were easily accessible. Now, with Origins Plus, you get them all included and can relive those old memories or experience these games for the first time. There's so much charm to these titles, and they were really able to demonstrate a massive amount of depth in creating these games with such limitations for these developers, and they still are a lot of fun to play.